Hello, crafty friends. This is Anya General with Ink, Paper, Scissors. Today, I'm thrilled to be collaborating with Altenew. They sent me a lovely little package, and I'll be using those products along with a few additional dies from their collection to create today's cards. Altenew has also graciously given me 2 gift cards to host a giveaway. More information about that at the end of the video. The technique I'm focusing on today is all about color, specifically using bold, saturated florals against dark, dramatic backgrounds to create contrast and visual impact. Think deep purples, hot pinks, and bright greens popping off black and navy card bases. It's a simple approach, but the results are bold, elegant, and full of depth. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're new here, I share technique videos every Thursday and go live every Tuesday at 2 p.m. EST. I would love it if you join me for my live stream sometime so we can connect. I've also linked all the supplies I used in the description box below, in case you are interested in something you see in this video. Now, it's time to talk crafty things. Let's take a look at the dies I'll be using today. First up is the Craft A Flower, Bellflower die set by Altenew. One of the things I absolutely love about these dies is that most of them include Altenew's keyhole design. Every layering piece has either a small keyhole or a unique symbol, so you can easily tell which pieces belong together. And even better, each piece is numbered, so you know exactly what order to layer them in. It's such a genius idea, and it really makes the whole process quick, easy, and more enjoyable. Next, I'm showing you the Craft A Flower Orchid dies. Now, these don't have the keyhole system, and I believe that's because they're a bit older. Altenew probably hadn't introduced that feature yet when these were released. But even without the keyholes, Altenew made the process simple by grouping all the pieces for each flower into a single die. I also really appreciate that they include a layering guide on the back of the packaging. It's so helpful for visualizing how everything goes together. I'm starting by die cutting all of the Bellflower layers from plain white cardstock. I like to keep things simple when I'm coloring the pieces myself. Cutting everything from white gives me complete control over the final look. Once I finish the Bellflowers, I move on to the Orchid set. I also die cut those from white cardstock, but with a bit more organization. Because there's no keyhole system on these, I like to keep each die's pieces grouped together. So if one die cuts out 4 pieces, I make sure to keep those 4 together, and then the next die's pieces go in a separate tray. This little bit of prep work up front makes assembly so much easier later on. For the stems, I wasn't quite sure yet which one I would end up using, so I just decided to die cut all 3 stem options that come in the set. It's better to have options, right? Next, it's time to add some color to our die cuts, and for that, I'm using my well-loved 9 by 12-inch sticky mat. This thing is honestly one of my favorite tools in the craft room. It's big enough to ink blend a bunch of die cuts at once, and it holds everything securely in place so nothing shifts around. I will also be using the 2 sets of inks that Altenew sent me. It's the Tropical Forest collection and the Shades of Purple collection. I will also be using some of the inks I already own by Altenew. Let's get into ink blending. For my color palette, I'm starting with Parrot. This is going to be my base color for the stems. Once that's down, I come in with Moss, towards the ends of the stems and on the flower buds to add a bit of depth and natural looking shading. This combo gives me a beautiful soft green that will really set the stage for the brighter colors I'll be using later. Next, I'm using Tangerine Dream to ink blend the small die-cut pieces that will go into the center of my orchids. These little accents really bring the flowers to life. Then I switch to Rose Quartz for the flower petals, being careful not to blend all the way to the edges. I want those petal tips to stay white for a soft, airy look. To add more depth, I grab a detail blending brush and apply Tickled pink in flicking motions. I start in the center of each petal and flick the ink outward, creating a natural gradient. While I have all the pieces out, I check the layering guide and assemble one of the orchids using liquid glue. Then I move on to the next orchid. This process is smooth and enjoyable, and having kept each die's pieces together earlier makes it so much quicker. Next, I lay out all of my Bellflower die-cut pieces on my Altenew sticky mat. For the inside of the Bellflowers, I start with Lemonade Stand, a beautiful bright yellow. Then I move to the stem and blend it with Bamboo, darkening the edges with Moss for a soft shaded effect. I use the same colors for the leaves. Moving on to the Bellflower petals, I start with soft Lilac over the entire piece, then deepen the top edges with Midnight Violet. To ensure a smooth blend, I go back over the transition area with soft Lilac again. These colors work beautifully together and give the petals that dimensional, natural look. Once all the ink blending is finished, I begin assembling my Bellflowers. I take the petal with the keyhole and the number 1 and layer it with piece number 2, which also has a keyhole. Then I find piece number 3 with the corresponding keyhole and layer that on top. I repeat this until I run out of keyhole-marked petals. Then I switch to the petals marked with an arrow symbol and follow the numerical layering order. For the final 2 detail pieces that cover up the keyholes and arrows, I refer to the layering guide on the back of the packaging, and just like that, my Bellflowers are assembled. Since I'm making 3 cards today, I decided to pull out the California Giants die set as well and cut those from white cardstock. I place all of the pieces on my Altenew sticky mat and begin ink blending the centers of the flowers with Tangerine Dream and Lemonade Stand. For the leaves, which are made up of 3 layers, I use bamboo for the base, Parrot for the mid layer, and moss to deepen the top layer. Next, I work on the floral pieces. For the base layer of both the large and small flowers, I start with wisteria in the center, then blend out Puffy heart from the edges toward the center to blend into the wisteria. On the top layer die cuts, I use ultraviolet in the middle and tickled pink on the edges. This pink and purple blend adds beautiful dimension and contrast to the flowers. After everything is colored, I go ahead and assemble the flowers and leaves. Now it's time to start pulling all the pieces for our cards together. I begin by cutting 2 pieces of cardstock, 2 in dark navy and 1 in black, down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. I also die cut the linear Crossroads die from brushed gold cardstock. Then I splatter Brutus Monroe aqua pigment in gold over 2 of the navy backgrounds for extra shine. On the black cardstock, I use white pigment ink with a blending brush to create a soft halo effect in the center. For additional interest, I die cut the polka dot leaves from vellum. This adds a delicate, airy layer to the background. Now the only thing I will need is sentiments, so I use the One Go solid sentiment strips, better press plate, and the coordinating dies to create several sentiment strips at once. I pull out my Better Press and my Spellbinders Platinum 6. I start by adding some mint tape to the top plate of my Better Press. I press an A2 panel of cotton cardstock, which is a thicker type of cardstock. This cardstock works best for the Better Press. Then I put my Better Press plate face up onto my Better Press platform, and I ink it up with VersaFine Clear Nocturne ink. I put my clear plate on top and then run it through my die cutting machine. I love the result, but decide to repeat the process for an even bolder black. Once I'm happy, I use the coordinating die to cut out all my sentiment strips. Quick and easy. And you have a lot of sentiments in one go. Now for the fun part, assembling the cards. For the first card, I am using a navy blue cardstock with the gold splatter and pair it with the Bellflower dies. I arrange the flower on my card panel and then arrange the leaves until I'm happy with the layout. Then I adhere them to my flower. Next, I trim the panel down to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches to create a nice white border when mounted. I add black foam tape behind the navy panel and adhere it to a white A2 card base. I trim the stem of the bellflower to match the edge of the panel and pop it up with foam tape. A strip of black foam behind the sentiment adds the final touch. And this card is complete. For my second card, I am again using the navy cardstock with gold splatter. Then I glue down the gold linear Crossroads die cut horizontally on my card panel. I then position the orchid stem at the bottom of the card and adhere the orchids with foam tape for extra dimension. Then I align another stem at the top of the card panel and cut off a flower stalk. I adhere the stem to my card panel and then I attach the remaining orchids. I add the Love You So Much sentiment strip with foam, tucking it between the flowers for a balanced look, and card 2 is finished. For my last card, I start by adhering the polka dot leaf cut from vellum to the black halo background. I use tiny dots of glue and press it down with an acrylic block while it dries. Now let's talk about why this card design works so well. The contrast between the bright, vibrant, ink-blended flowers and the deep, dark background creates a striking visual impact. In color theory, placing bright colors like pinks, purples, and yellows against a dark neutral like black makes those colors pop even more. This high contrast draws your eye directly to the focal point and adds dramatic depth to your card. It's an easy way to create professional-looking designs with lots of visual interest. Once the background is dry, I add foam behind the large California giant flower and adhere it slightly off-center. Then I tuck the small flower to the right and add my sentiment strip using foam tape. That finishes my third and last card. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming content. I post new videos every Thursday and go live every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm also excited to share that Altenew has generously offered 2 $15 gift cards for a giveaway. To enter, head over to my Instagram and look for the post featuring these cards. All you have to do is follow both, me and Altenew, leave a comment on that post, and share it with a few friends who love crafting too. I'll be announcing the 2 winners on Instagram in 1 week, so be sure to get your entry in. You will find the link to my Instagram in the description of my YouTube channel. A huge thank you to Altenew for collaborating with me on this video and for rewarding my amazing followers. What a great company to work with. If you'd like to recreate any of the cards I made today, you'll find a full list of supplies linked in the description box below. Also, let me know in the comments below which card was your favorite and if you will give this technique a try. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I'll see you next time. Happy crafting!